my favorite Doc Stone, chapter 142, World Power. And just right off the bat, I gotta say how much I freaking love this title page. Senku and Dear Losuka just looking up the freaking rocket as it launches into the air. I mean, it just really puts in perspective the absolute enormous, gargantuan, unbelievable size of what it is they're building. And just the amount of effort it's going to take to put it together. And as Senku announces big world globe-trotting adventure they're going on, of course Jen has to just push Chrome a little bit, really inspire him, really push him to do his best. Like, oh, where in the world are we ever going to find a pro explorer? Freaking love you, Jen. And even Tsukasa has taken a minute to admire just how good Jen is at getting people to reach 100% of their powers, how great he is at pushing them in the right direction. He actually says he thought reviving Jen was the greatest error he had ever made, which, yeah, it kind of was. If you hadn't revived Jen, I think there is a 99% chance Senku would have lost. I mean, we wouldn't have known the army was coming, so he wouldn't be able to defend against them. He wouldn't have been able to manipulate the rest of Suka's followers into listening to Senku. Definitely would have been a much more uphill battle for him, but let me know down below. If Jen had not betrayed him, could Senku have won? I'm honestly not sure right now. And then we finally get to the roadmap. There's definitely a lot of speculation about what this would be. My own theory was that this whole chapter would just be the roadmap. Just like page after page of what they needed, where they'd get it, who they need to wake up to get that thing. And I was definitely a little bit off about this. I was not expecting what we got, but when Yuzu and Kaseki saw what Senku had planned, they got stars in their eyes, and I knew, oh, they're going to make something special right here. I was not expecting something this special. They made a 3D rotating globe. I mean, this thing is basically an astral observatory. I can't even fathom the amount of work and effort it would take to put this thing together. How they planned or what, but just absolute props to them for building this thing. It's freaking amazing and I love it. I mean, Senku's definitely a little confused about why they went to all this effort, but it definitely explains to everyone, okay, so this is what we're actually building, this is what we're actually doing, because they were still a little shaky on the Earth being round. That was a big thing when Senku announced he was first, building a big raft to sail the other side of the world. Magma started laughing at him like, ha ha ha, don't you know, Senku, you'd fall off the edge of it, which you had a good laugh about, but yeah. So this definitely helps them realize, oh, so that's what the world looks like, okay. Though I really do wish there had been a moment where someone asked, okay, so where are we on this thing? And so he said, oh, you said a tiny little island right there? We've explored maybe about 10% of that. I mean, really, even for us modern timers, when you think about how absolutely tiny we are in the grand scheme, how freaking huge this planet is, it's a little overwhelming. Try it for one of these Stone Agers. Like, oh, okay, so we've basically only seen 0.0001% of the entire Earth. That just blew my mind, man. That just blew my mind. And it looks like the science team has 5 targets they need to reach in order to build the rockets. Corn from the good old U.S.A, which I guess makes a certain amount of sense. We are kind of known for our corn, but with, everything else we've done and created, we kind of see ourselves as the superpower of the world. And Senku's like, oh no, you're only good for corn. That's a little hits my pride right there as an American, honestly. But alright, then it looks like in South America they need super alloy. Not gonna lie, I have absolutely no idea what that means whatsoever. I don't know enough about super allies or South America to know exactly what it is they're planning on building there, but okay. In Australia, they're apparently going to mine for aluminum. I did not know Australia had large quantities of aluminum, but okay, that makes sense. I know there's a lot of gold mining there. That's about it. And then I think that's New Zealand. Again, I'm not great with maps, but it looks like they're going to get rubber from New Zealand. I guess there's rubber trees in New Zealand. That's my best guess for that. And then finally we have Math City, which my best guess is they're going to find the components they need to build supercomputers there to do all the calculations for the space launch. That's either in Russia or Europe. I'm a little unclear on exactly where that is or what components they're going to need for that, but I guess we'll find out about that sooner or later. And as it turns out, I was quite wrong. I figured, okay, they're going to go out, they're going to use the people that revive, make some small cities, do the mining they need to do to get things up running, and then gather all the resources together and put the rocket together. No. They are building full cities on each of those areas. They are building 5 global cities with hundreds of people in each of them. I did not see that coming. I really did not see that coming. I even sent a comment down below my last video. Oh, I don't think they revived that many people. Maybe like 3 or 4. Or otherwise, it's a little confusing. Keeping track of everyone. No, they're reviving literally hundreds and hundreds of people. They're basically restarting civilization right here and now. Okay, didn't expect that, but makes a lot more sense that way. And of course, good old Jen really needs to put the finishing touches on this by throwing a paper airplane into the air as they all imagine themselves flying to the moon. I mean, good God freaking Christ, Jen, you are so good at manipulating people. I love it. Of course, this then brings up another point. Well, what if we revive bad people? I mean, what reason do they have to actually listen to us? And then Tsukasa basically says, it'll be fine. They're like, yeah, but what about it'll be fine? They're like, oh, right, we have Tsukasa. We have literally the strongest man in the world. A world-famous boxer fighter. Yeah, we're probably going to be fine. I mean, I personally don't know that many fighters or boxers, but if I woke up from stone 3,000 years in the future and Mike Tyson was there telling me what to do, I kind of feel compelled to listen to him because I know he could very easily kill me with a flick of his wrist. So I guess that's Tsukasa here. But you just gotta love the raw power this man has, that he can literally make anyone listen to him just because of how freaking strong he is. Love that. And then we finally have that confrontation between Ryu and Tsukasa that a lot of people were expecting. I personally didn't realize this is going to be an issue. Someone had to point in the comment section like, oh, right. That could go very, very badly, as our reporter friend has to point out. And honestly, I forgot she was quite so curvy. It's been a while since we've seen her. But okay. I do also love that she almost gets to apologize for thinking so poorly of Ryu when they first woke him up. I recently got the latest volume of Dr. Stone in the mail, and I reread it. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. She really did not want to wake up Ryu, like, at all. I had this whole, like, picture of him when I first read that chapter, like, they, like, have a bad breakup? Did they date? Did she meet him and he, like, blew her off or something? No, it's literally just all the rumors of him being the black sheep of the family, him being so temperamental and greedy and wanting literally everything for himself. And then he confesses his love to her, which, not gonna lie, that made me do a double take. You may hate me with a passion, but I love you. What the actual... Okay, that was a very strange scene, and she definitely wasn't expecting that. But then he explains that he loves all the women of the world, and all the men of the world. He desires all of them, which... Okay, that's a very strange line to say there. I have so many questions about all of that. Very curious what's going to happen to Ryu down the road, but... yeah, you have to wait and see about that. And yeah, Ryu gives a fairly impressive speech about money, and even Tsukasa is kind of moved by it, because at its core, there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with money. You do a job, you get paid for it, you can go about and buy stuff for yourself. Yay! Tsukasa's problem was more about the richest of the rich, top 1%, those who hoarded all their money, and made it impossible for other people to make money, made it so that people who worked way harder than they did, worked 18, 20-hour shifts, barely made enough to feed themselves or their family. But that's not really a problem in this stone world. From what we've seen so far, at least, everyone gets enough food to eat, everyone gets what they need to survive, and if they want luxuries, cotton candy, manga, luxury clothes, then they actually need to, put in the effort, work for it. And those who put in more work or are capable of doing more work than others, they get paid more than those who work less or are incapable of working less. But again, everyone is still given their basics. What they need to survive, they are guaranteed. And if they want more than that, they work for it. This is a system that works, at least for now. But again, I'm not bashing capitalism at all. The system just gets very, very complicated when you get in, billions and billions of people all fighting for money at the same time. Because at least for now in the Stone Age with the 100, 200 people walking around, the system works, it makes sense. Nobody seems to be overly lazy, refusing to do work, or no one really seems to be hoarding money so they can use it to control other people. Sorry if I had a little rambling about the good and evils of capitalism. I am by no means an expert in the field of capitalism, economics, or any of that, so let's just move on. So the first thing Senku needs in reviving basically all of humanity is a whole lot of alcohol. That's the main ingredient in revival fluid. And they have absolutely no means of creating enough grapes or potatoes or whatever to make that amount of alcohol by themselves, so they need corn. And where do they have corn? Good old U.S.A. Corn capital of the world, apparently. didn't actually know that, but okay, that makes a lot of sense. I just gotta love Suka. Like, what's corn? Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to explain what that is to someone who's never had it before. I mean, seriously, try explaining corn. It's like a cylinder, and it's got the food on the outside of it, which are its seeds, and you kind of eat it, and you leave like the inside of it. It's a weird, really, think about corn. It's a very strange product. They're also on a bit of a time limit because they haven't got those cornfields up and running before winter rolls around. They're gonna have to wait a whole another year to make this work. And I really do just love Jen's moment of realization here. Like, wow. You remember when we told everyone, hey, humanity was up and running in America and they're going to come save you? And we realized, oh, this lie is going to send us straight to hell. Yeah, I really felt bad about that. But now they're making it true. They're restarting civilization in America just like they said had already happened. So their lie is kind of true. That's something at least. And I guess next chapter is their journey to America. Very excited to see that. Honestly, I'm kind of curious if anything is still standing. And I mean, obviously, 3,000 years have passed. Basically, everything's crumbled to dust. But I don't think we've seen them go to any like major cities yet. Could anything be left standing after all that time? Like steel skyscrapers? Would they have just rusted to dust and disintegrate over time? Or could there still be like some fragments of those left? I really would like to see them go to like some major city like L.A. or New York and just see like rusted skyscrapers that have basically collapse and just piles of metal on the ground or something. I'm not really sure how long those would last before they just fall apart, but some remnant would be really cool to see. I really like that. I mean, that Buddha was still standing way back in like chapter 6, so maybe something. Ooh, Statue of Liberty! Yeah, probably not. I guess we'll say. Anyway, so next chapter is their trip, and I find it interesting they include Hawaii on the map to LA. I'm really curious they're going to make a stop over in Hawaii because I really want to see what's become of those islands. I mean, they're basically like a series of volcanoes anyway, so would they be bigger? Would they have like merged into one big island? I'm assuming everyone who's petrified in Hawaii is already long since shattered from the constant volcano eruptions of over 3,000 years, but I don't know, I think that'd be a really cool place for them to stop in and just see what's happening there. Then looks like they're going to Los Angeles. That's where they're going to park the boat. And then it seems like Nevada and Las Vegas is their final destination. I guess Nevada has a lot of open fields where they can grow the corn. Oh, it seems interesting that that's their choice. I mean, like I said before, anything still standing. If there'd be anything still standing, it'd definitely be in Las Vegas. That I really want to see. Just some crumbling remains of the old casino. Something that says humanity used to be here. Humanity used to live here. I don't know what it'd be, but that'd be really cool. So like I said, next chapter is probably going to be, hopefully going to be them getting the boat and just making their way to the good old U.S.A. It's funny, I thought the series is coming to a close. I'm like, oh, I guess they're going to build the rockets. Probably going to be some big flash forward, and then they're going to, oh, all right, now we're going to space, something like that. But no, it seems like we still have quite a bit left to do. I mean, if they take the time to really explore how they make these 5 cities up and running, that's like 5 separate arcs before they finally get to building the rocket and going to see the Y-Man, which I really shouldn't be too surprised about. I mean, one thing this series seems to always do is kind of forget itself. Like, they have this big, huge goal, like, all right, we're going to go to the moon, and then they'll be like, all right, now we're going to make corn, and then they go to make corn, like, okay, to make corn we need X, to make X we need Y, to make Y we need Z, and then they're working on Z. I'm like, wait a minute, why did they come here again? But at the same time, it's not really criticism. I mean, they do such a good job of keeping, like, Z entertaining, Z interesting, like, wow, how are they going to solve Z? And they finally solve, like, wow, that was amazing. What are they going to do next? Like, oh, right, they still have Y. And then they do Y. Like, oh, right, they still have X. Like, oh, right, they're making corn so they could go to the moon. I forgot all about that. So, it's a very interesting series. I really love how they do that. But let me think all that down below. What would have happened if Tsukasa hadn't revived Jen? How do you think Ryu and Tsukasa are going to get along? I'm very curious to see what happens with these two. I hope they both go on the, well, they're probably both going to go on the boat ride together, so seeing them interacting is going to be fun. I think they're going to make a stop over in Hawaii. Again, I truly want to see what happens with all the volcanoes going off. What's left of the island? Is it bigger? Is it flourishing? What's going on with that? And then I guess they're going to make their way to Las Vegas, Nevada. That's going to be fun. Do you think there's anything still standing there? I'm not sure. Again, I'm not a scientist. I don't know exactly how things break down, but so far we've yet to see even a scrap of a building left over from the old age. I mean, Buddha was it, so So some part or remnant of Vegas could still be standing, maybe? I'm really not sure. Oh, and do you think there's going to be any people in the good old U.S.A? I was just wondering about this before, because we have a lot of bomb shelters in the U.S., mostly Cold War holdouts, but stuff like that. So if someone was like deep enough underground with lead-lined walls, could it be theoretically possible that they survived the petrification event and managed to start civilization over again? Certainly not to the level that Senku's at, with radio waves and all that, or they would have, heard from them at some point, but some sort of, village similar to Ishigami Village when Senku first got there. I mean, they did have warning. I mean, they did have a warning. All the robins, sparrows were turned to stone the day before this happened. I feel like someone in the U.S. would have gone to the president and be like, President, every sparrow in the world is turned to stone, and we're a little freaked out about this, so we want you to go. So we want you, your family, your staff's family to go deep underground this bunker for a day or two to figure out exactly what's going on here. And maybe somehow being so deep underground, they managed to survive the beam and come out and start a whole new village, start a whole new country all over again. I'm not sure. I mean, it's very, very unlikely to happen, but slight possibility. Let me think all that down below. How has America changed the last 3,000 years? Probably a whole lot of wild animals are enough to fight. That's gonna be fun. I mean, Tsukusa fought a lion with his bare hands, so they probably won't be that much of an issue to them. Leave it all down below. Be sure to like, subscribe to this video. Until then,
Peace.